welcome, Susan. And
thank you.
What's your son's name?
Seamus.
Seamus, you've done a tremendous job. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Clearly, you've done a wonderful job with him because I didn't even realize he was here.
Thanks. I thought he was being too obvious. Hi, I'm Susan McGuinness Getzinger. I'm here to testify. I wish I brought my glasses. I'm here to testify why I oppose nearly all bills being raised and proposed in today's Children's Committee of the Behavioral Health Partnership Oversight Council. I consider these raised and proposed bills to be errors and superficial proposals due to the withholding of the evidence by the state of Connecticut in the Adam Lanza case in Newtown. We're from Newtown. We have not received services from the school board of Newtown. We've had issues for years. My focus is also the inherent conflicts of interest with the many vendors involved as members of the Behavioral Health Partnership Oversight Council. And since the majority of Governor Malloy's appointed committee members' employers stand to profit from the proposed legislation presented, I oppose the majority of the bills. My reasons are printed below, and I'll just get to the bullet points. Proposed Bill 5567, an act concerning children's mental health. Again, Adam Lanza's records are sealed. We're never able to learn from sealed records. I think this is irresponsible. The retention schedule, which is in the back in my testimony, of school records, including medical and mental health and school records, the records and instructions for destruction of school records may be a factor in this case. The Board of Education law firms are agents of the school district, and so by law they're able to hold those records at their law firms. The retention schedule for mental health records has no requirements to maintain for any amount of time those mental health records. However, vaccine records are kept for 50 years. Connecticut school law is riddled with conflicts of interest. Some law firms and elected officials have conflicts of interest directly associated with the Adam Lanza case. Senator Chris Murphy's father is a partner at Shipman and Goodman, the law firm that represents the most school districts in Connecticut, 80 out of 169. And Tom Mooney wrote the book that school board of eds use, and he's from Shipman and Goodman, as is the Attorney General George Jepson. Birch and Moses in Devlin, another school law firm, represents 14 to 30 districts depending on the year. And they also, both law firms have represented Newtown and have fought me and my children and denied services to us illegally, and I proved it in a public hearing. This information may be why Adam Lanza's records are being sealed, to hide the inadequacy of the records, retention policies, and procedures in Connecticut schools, and any law firm which may be retaining those records and may be destroying them. And now I'm going to skip ahead to proposed Bill 651, an act concerning nutrition. My son can't eat most of the foods on the planet. I oppose this because the language is vague and does not disclose who determines the standard and why. It is not the government's position, state or federal, to tell us what to eat and when. They've changed their own pyramid several times, and the government already mandates the very vaccines that are causing and drastically limiting the children's diets by creating life-threatening food allergies, as in our case, that many never escape from, including, we've been in the emergency room 4 times fighting for his life. Most play dates now have EpiPens when you go to a play date. This is their childhood, a whole generation. There are adjuvants and ingredients in the vaccines, and vaccines train the body to over-respond by attacking the diseases. Why wouldn't they attack the adjuvants, the peanut oil and beeswax in the vaccines, or the mercury? Why wouldn't they have the same method to attack those same foods that are then introduced later? They recognize the disease. Why wouldn't they recognize the peanut oil? The federal government has changed its own food, and they're giving us a very narrow, what's the word I'm looking for? They're basically limiting fat in the diet. The brain needs fat. And a lot of these kids, their demyelination is happening in their brains because the vaccines take the myelin that covers the nerve and strips it, and it's made of fat. So now they're in essence dumbing down the society by taking good fats out of the diet. We need fats, especially during the first 3 years. So many diseases come from demyelination. Some infectious diseases affecting the brain are caused by viruses and bacteria. Viral or bacterial causes have been reported in multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, encephalopathy, and encephalomyelitis. Symptoms of nerve dysfunction include, but are not limited to, ADHD, autism, learning disabilities that are costing the state a lot of money, and countless other impairments, never mind costing children their lives and their quality of lives, and stress on families. Then, instead of accommodating the children in their care, school administrators and their Board of Ed attorneys, with the help of the Connecticut Department of Ed, Legal Services, and Special Education Department, fight families with local tax dollars that might be better used for the children's needs, instead of attorney billable hours controlling 68% of 169 towns of the local tax dollars. That's a huge incentive for moral and unethical conflicts of interest and recycling and building programs, and kids are falling through the cracks. One more bill, if I may. I just wanted to say the FDA and the CDC recalls products continually. I have the list in the testimony, but they don't recall vaccines. Very problematic. Only taxpayers are liable to pay out for vaccine damages and deaths. So again, the taxpayers are getting stuck with the bill. HB number 6346, an act revising various statutes concerning the Department of Children and Families. I oppose this because Governor Malloy is protecting people who may abuse individuals by taking away the right to face your accuser in paragraph F. I won't go into it. I'll just zoom through these. Number 158, an act establishing a task force on the prevention of sexual abuse. I oppose this because who is it that writes the curriculum? And the Board of Ed and parents at the local level are supposed to do this in Connecticut, and they're being manipulated by the attorneys with conflicts of interest. 169, an act concerning the assessment and delivery of mental health services and interventions. Again, we haven't seen the records. They might have been destroyed a long time ago. The whole retention schedule is rigged. Number 273, an act concerning foster children and internship opportunities. I oppose this because the state vendors recycle foster children from the system back into the same state-funded system programs and perpetuate a broken and allegedly corrupt system. And it's expanding and not breaking a negative cycle. And these are kids and families. I think that was sort of half a bell. I'm not sure what's going on over there. I think you might want to put the tax money into the bell or just use an iPhone, and that might be saving some money.
Wind it up. That'd be
So,
great.
okay, I'll wind it up, but I'm not against good things for kids. I'm against corruption and not using the money well and not holding those already in place accountable. And I think you are decent people that would agree with that. So I thank you for doing this, and I wish you luck on your testimony. But we really need to see the records, and I'm afraid they're already destroyed. He was born a little boy, Adam Lanza. What do we do to him? Do we vaccinate him and then drug him? And then, sure, who wouldn't pick up a gun? He's sad and lonely, very sad. If you really want to stop this from happening again, and you're going to give earlier childhood education and mandate they have vaccines, and they're saying mental health for a baby who's 0, really? Goo goo gaga is now a problem? I don't think so. Thank you.
Wait just one second.
Sorry,
I don't know whether there are any questions or comments.
How to do an EpiPen, I can show you.
That's okay. But we do have your written testimony.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, because you said some very interesting things, and I really, really appreciate your coming here. You are very passionate about this, and I know you've been through a lot. So we are going to pay very special attention to what you brought to us today.
I
Thank you for your
that.
testimony.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I believe, because I think you guys must be sort of together, but Patricia